Imagine a scenario where hundreds of thousands of federal workers are suddenly furloughed, national parks are partially closed, and critical government services are disrupted. This is not a hypothetical situation. It's the reality of a government shutdown, and it's happening right now. But here's where it gets controversial. While Republicans and Democrats point fingers at each other, the American public is left wondering, who's really to blame? And this is the part most people miss. The shutdown is not just about funding. It's a high-stakes battle over healthcare tax credits, infrastructure projects, and political ideologies. Let's dive into the chaos. The House-passed GOP funding bill, which aimed to keep the government running until November 21st, has repeatedly failed to secure the necessary 60 votes in the Senate. Despite 3 attempts, it has garnered no new support from Democrats. In the latest vote, only 3 Democrats, Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada, John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, and Angus King of Maine, an independent who caucuses with Democrats, joined Republicans. Notably, GOP Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky opposed the bill, citing his rejection of short-term funding measures. Senate Republicans plan to continue pushing for votes, hoping to pressure Democrats into supporting the bill and ending the shutdown. But here's the twist. Several federal agencies, including the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, have publicly blamed Democrats for the shutdown, potentially violating the Hatch Act, which prohibits federal employees from engaging in political activities while on duty. The Office of Special Counsel, responsible for investigating such violations, is now closed due to the shutdown, leaving these actions unaddressed, at least for now. Public Citizen, a progressive nonprofit, accused HUD of violating the Hatch Act with a banner on its website blaming the radical left in Congress for the shutdown. Craig Holman, a government ethics expert, criticized the Trump administration for undermining ethics enforcement offices, stating that they've been taken over by Trump loyalists or those intimidated by him. The shutdown's impact is far-reaching. Federal prosecutors are pausing cases due to lack of resources, and the Justice Department is requesting courts to halt lawsuits until funding is restored. Even the monthly jobs report, closely watched by investors and the Federal Reserve, will not be released. Meanwhile, roughly 100,000 federal workers who accepted buyouts have left their positions, further straining government operations. In a bold move, the Trump administration has frozen $18 billion in infrastructure funding for New York City, targeting the home state of Democratic leaders Senator Chuck Schumer and Representative Hakeem Jeffries. Russ Vought, head of the White House Office of Management and Budget, justified the freeze by claiming the funds were tied to unconstitutional DEI principles. This decision will halt progress on critical projects like the Hudson Tunnel and 2nd Avenue subway. Republicans, led by House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune, have vehemently criticized Democrats for the shutdown. Johnson accused Democrats of dragging the country into a reckless shutdown to appease their far-left base, while Thune claimed Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer had led Democrats into a boxed canyon with no way out. Schumer, however, defended Democrats' stance, arguing that Republicans refused to negotiate and were lying about Democrats' health care demands. He asserted, "The American people are going to be totally on our side." Vice President J.D. Vance blamed the far-left faction of Senate Democrats for the shutdown, praising moderates who supported the GOP bill. He acknowledged the pain caused by the shutdown, but insisted that Democrats were holding critical services hostage over policy disagreements. Vance dismissed Democrats' urgency for Affordable Care Act tax credits, noting they don't expire until next year. As the Senate continues to vote on competing funding measures, Republicans are strategizing to win over Democratic support. With a 53-seat majority, Republicans need Democratic votes to reach the 60-vote threshold required for most legislation. Senate Majority Leader John Thune expressed hope that some Democrats, unhappy with the shutdown, might break ranks. However, with the Senate observing Yom Kippur on Thursday, the impasse may drag on. The question remains, can both parties set aside their differences and reach a compromise, or will the shutdown persist, inflicting further damage on the American people? As the blame game continues, one thing is clear. The shutdown is a stark reminder of the deep political divisions in Washington. What do you think? Are Democrats justified in their demands, or are Republicans right to push for a clean funding bill? Let the debate begin.